The Canon 500mm f4L series lens version 1. This is the type of lens that dreams are made of. Released all the way back on July 1st, 1999. That's over 25 years ago. So, could a lens this old still be any good? Well, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're gonna dive into a very special piece of gear, and let's just say it's not for everyone. So right up top, let's get a few things out of the way. It's big, it's heavy, it's a little noisy, and by noisy I mean loud, not necessarily grain. And it definitely takes a certain type of photographer to even want something like this. But if you're into sports or wildlife photography, then you're in the right place. This is the Canon 500mm f4L series lens version 1. A legend, a fantastic lens for sports and wildlife. But it's not without its downsides. So let's talk specs for a second. This is an EF mount 500mm prime lens with a maximum aperture of f4 and a minimum aperture of f32. The minimum focusing distance is about 15 feet, which I know sounds like a lot, but once you start shooting with something like this, you get used to it pretty quickly. The weight, on the other hand, brace yourself, it is 3,870 grams, which is just a little under 9 pounds. So you're gonna feel this after a long day of shooting. Now, back when this beast was released, it had a price tag of about $7,500, but that's $1,999, not today dollars. For example, if you were to buy the version 2 of this lens today, it costs you somewhere around $10,000. But the good news is you can find something like this on the used market for as little as $2,000, which I know is still a lot of money. $2,000 is $2,000, but considering what you're getting for it, that's a pretty sweet deal in my opinion. Now let's be real, a lens like this, it draws a lot of attention pretty much everywhere you go. But when it comes to actually getting the shot, it definitely gets the job done. I mean, look at that. I use this lens for some sports photography, although at times I do find it to be a little bit too long, but I mostly use it for wildlife. And by wildlife, I mean birds, mostly because wildlife is very difficult to find, but birds are everywhere. So if you've been considering stepping into the world of sports and wildlife, this is definitely something to at least take a look at. I mean, like I said, for $2,000, it's hard to beat this thing. It's got super fast autofocus, 2 focusing modes, a focus preset button, and this rotating ring up here lets you rag back to that predetermined focus point using the focus preset button. So that's pretty cool. Now, the front element is absolutely massive, so getting a filter is pretty much out of the question, but you do have this nifty little drop-in filter on the backside here, so you could use a circular polarizer or a neutral density filter if you wanted to, right in there like so. Now, I know f4 isn't necessarily the fastest or the widest aperture out there, but considering what you're getting out of this, it definitely gets the job done. Check out a few of the photos that I've gotten using this lens. I mean, this is the kind of lens that really makes you want to get out in the field and make something happen. When you're using this, it feels like you're really doing the damn thing, you know what I'm saying? If you're even considering stepping into sports and wildlife and you have your eyes on a telephoto lens, definitely give this one a look, because I know there's a lot of hubbub about the RF glass and this and that, and you might even be looking at some cheaper options. But again, for $2,000, maybe even a little cheaper if you get lucky, this is a next level purchase if you can get your hands on one. So let's say we wrap this up, huh? The Canon 500mm f4L series lens version 1. Is it still worth it in 2025, 26 years after its release? Absolutely. As long as you can live with the size, the weight, and the age of this thing, you'll definitely get some phenomenal images out of it. And you can do so without having to destroy your bank account, so that's an obvious plus. It is by no stretch of the imagination the perfect lens, but for the right shooter in the right hands, it's absolutely magical. I mean, using this thing really reminds me of like when I first got into photography. You know, you got that new piece of gear, all eyes on you, everybody's asking questions like, hey man, what's with the camera? Nowadays more so what's with the lens, but it just gives you a cool feeling of really being about it, you know? And yeah, sure, it's old, but honestly, this lens still has a lot of life in it, so long as you're willing to put the work in. And I know some of you might even be thinking, why not just use a 70-200 with the 1.4 converter or a 2x converter? And I'll tell you why not, because it's just not as cool, let's be honest. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's my quick overview of the 500mm f4 lens. If you found this video even the slightest bit informative or helpful, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you think about it, or what you think about the lens in and of itself, or any lens of its caliber, maybe the 3 or the 4 or the 600mm as well. If you guys currently own a 500mm or a different super telephoto, maybe let me know what your experience with that one is and how it differs. I know a lot of people tend to go for the 600mm f4 or the 400mm f2.8, which I really would like to get my hands on, so fingers crossed for that. But yeah guys, hit that like button, and if you haven't done so already, do me a solid and maybe subscribe to the channel. It really helps. I really appreciate it. And in the meantime, you know, keep shooting, keep creating, keep chasing those shots, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.